Hello, hello, welcome everybody. Super excited to have you here. Thank you for coming to the Faith Over Fear 5-day challenge. I can see people are already in here. I love that Elizabeth has already said hi. Livia, who is going to be our speaker tonight, is in the green room. She's here. We've been doing some audio test, and she's excited to see you in the VIP. Let me just, this will be the last time I talk about VIP. I don't know if you're getting sick of that, but VIP is so cool. And let me explain why. The way that we're doing this is we want to get more people involved in this movement, to understand that you're not alone. You know, if you feel that you've got a calling, a mission, a purpose, and you've been feeling like you're alone, or you've been frustrated thinking, how do I get my voice out there? We want to gather you in safely to where you are among friends. And so part of this is to broadcast it out to let a lot of people know. So we are simulcasting right now. We are on 2 of my channels, or 3, I think 2 Facebook channels and a YouTube channel. And then Livia we've got her YouTube channel and I think 2 different Facebook groups there too. So we're broadcasting this out so that more people can stumble upon it and go, oh my goodness, I want to be a part of this. And they come in, and that's how this works. VIP, what VIP is about is it's the after party. It's the backstage pass. It's where those that are really excited about this, they come, we have a private Zoom call, and you get to turn on your cameras, you get to ask Livia questions, and it's really cool. It's very interactive. We've had, oh boy, the last couple of days we've had some amazing breakthrough experiences with people who are realizing they're ready to step forward. They're done hiding, and they're going to move forward and pursue their dream and get their voices out there. So that's just a little bit about VIP. Okay, so with VIP, this is the last time we'll talk about it. Last time I'll pitch it. If you are interested in that, just go to faithoverfear.tips, re-register. Or register if you haven't registered before. That's where you do it, and just use the same email address that you already used. You don't need to get multiple email addresses, but then just opt for the VIP. Okay, and then you're in. And as soon as we're done with this main live broadcast session, so again, we're broadcasting it out right now, then we'll move into that private Zoom call. And anyway, it makes it really kind of cool. So there's just a little bit of space in between this live broadcast and then our next live one. And so we'll send you a link so that you've got all that. And if you are VIP and have not received your Zoom link for tonight, we have had some email issues. Direct message me. I will check that before we go to the live Zoom, and hopefully we'll get that fixed. So that's the first thing. Next thing is, if you want to show up, if you want to show up, you know, we add in comments here and here, like Livia, you see her photo, you see her comments. We can add these in. It makes it really fun so that we can talk directly to you and whatever it is that you're going through. The way that you have your face show up and your name show up is you just open up another web browser temporarily, go to chat.restream.io/FB, and they just need to have permission there. You need to grant permission so that Facebook and Restream can use that, and then that syncs together, and that's the magic. We had a few people that didn't know about that the other night, and so they just show up as Facebook user, you know, which is nice. You get your comments seen, but we want to see you, and we want you to come out and to be able to share your face and your voice, your messages, and so that's what that's about. So with that, let me just get going. So I'm your host. Hey, and you've seen me for the last couple of days, but no, you know what? You don't really know me. You don't really know much about me. And so before I get Livia on, I just wanted to share with you a little bit of my story, my journey, so that you can see that I know your pain. I know what you're going through. And so you can see what the whole purpose of this 5-day challenge is. So with that, let's see if this works. Okay, yeah, let me turn off Restream. Okay, so I want to tell you just a little story, and I'm just going to draw out a few things for you. Hopefully this makes sense. Okay, so I'm a filmmaker by trade, and I've wanted to be a filmmaker ever since I was a little kid. There's a long story as to what I wanted to do, but really I wanted to change people's lives. I wanted to help. I wanted to like build, strengthen marriages and preserve families and give hope and encouragement and life to people. I felt like that was my calling. And one of the things about me is I love, that's a heart. I'm just going to redo the heart, okay? I love short films. Okay, I love short films. I think they're so cool because one of the great things about short films is that you can put great messages in there, and people will accept it. You know, you can have a little morality tale or something like that, and and people they're okay with it. You know, it's not like a big feature with like Wall-E or something like that, where it's a little less. Anyway, people allow good messages in short films. And so I thought that this would be a great way to share my voice and the things that were inside of my heart. The only problem is you can't, there's no money in short films. Okay. And so I realized that I have this problem. You don't go to the movie theater to watch short films. You don't pay for them. If you ever buy them on iTunes or something like that, like, maybe it's a little purchase or something. But my big question is, can I make a living? So I'm just going to write this down. That's an E. That's a G or V. Sorry, it's hard to talk and write at the same time. I realized I had this big problem. Can I make a living making short films? I had this great love for them. I felt like it could make a difference in the world. I could share my voice, but I couldn't find anybody that was doing this. There was no path to it. There was no proven way to do this. I mean, if you think about it, how much have you ever paid for short films? If it was TV, if it was movies or something like that, absolutely there are paths for that. So let's say, can I make a living making feature films? That's an F. Sorry. Okay, can I make a living making feature films? Yes! There are paths to do that. I could take, I need to go from A to B here, and I could take the Steven Spielberg route, or maybe the Coen brothers route, or maybe the Ron Howard route. Like, people have done this before, and I can follow what they have done, and I can have my dream of making feature films if that's what my dream was. But my dream was short films, and I struggled with that. If you wanted to do TV, there are paths that you can do that. And for the longest time, I tried to figure this out. And every time I could get a smart person, is what I call them, in the room with me. This is somebody that had an MBA or that was some sort of business person. And I thought, okay, can you help me crack the code on this? I want to be able to figure out the business model so that I could make a living making short films. And all of them, they were just so perplexed. They're like, I just don't think you could do it. I don't see a possibility in there for you. And so I still push forward, and I had this love. That's a heart again. Let's do a better heart. Okay. So I had this love for doing short films, and I found, I could do it once, maybe twice. And in fact, I've done a few films, and I ended up going badly into debt because of it, because it's such an expensive art form. And realizing that I'm kind of an anomaly here. I mean, most people don't have the challenges of this. Film is it's just the most expensive art form out there, because you've got the writer, you've got the film crew, you got to have like all the equipment, all the gear, you've got the actors, and then you get into post-production with the music and the editing and all these things. You can't just do it alone. I was always so envious of artists who could just show up and paint or create music or something like that, and I couldn't do it alone. So I'm stuck. And so what I found is you really have to have money if you want to do it again. Now, as I started to study these things, one of the things that I realized is to be able to do it again and to have this kind of circle of creating money to be able to do my love, which was helping people through my short films, really it comes down to this big giant E. And I have come to love this E. And this E for me is entrepreneurship. Because if you can create a business and you can make some money making what you love, oh my goodness, you can make this incredible difference. And as I started to recognized what I was really loving about all of this stuff was making a difference. And now, as I look at this, my real question now is, can I make a living making a difference? Whoops, that's an I. Okay. Now, does this question ring true for any of you? And I've been in the chats with you. I've been in the Zoom rooms, and I've heard about people who want to help people who are going through divorce, or who have have conflict in their marriage, or who want to help with pornography addiction, or who want to help families with health and nutrition and things. There are so many. You are a heart-centered entrepreneur, right? You have something in your heart where you feel like you want to be able to make your difference and be able to help, put your voice out into the world and help with the people in the way that you can. Is that making sense? Are we talking okay, so I'm just going to throw up a few comments in here. Pamela, thank you so much for adding this comment. This is really what you want to do. Mark, you put in there, can you make a difference? Yes. And I love that you are currently writing a screenplay on your own novel. I think all of us have this desire to be able to get our voices out, to make our contribution in the world. And what I have found, the secret, that I have found, and I've figured out a framework for all of this, but one of the big key components of this is to be able to broadcast easily and effortlessly. And I say broadcast, there's a lot of different ways to do it. I guess maybe a more inclusive term for it is publish. Last night we heard from Leslie Householder. She talked to us about publishing and how she went kind of an alternate route and self-published her book, and the amazing things that happened from that. She actually gave it away for free. Anyway, if you missed last night's episode, last night's session, make sure you go back and listen to her on that. But publish. This is one of the big keys. And so this whole week is to help you understand, let's get over your fears. Let's get over your doubts and your concerns, your worries, what is it when you have that identity complex? You know what I'm talking about? Where you feel like you can't do it. Imposter syndrome. Any perfectionism, anything that is keeping you stuck and still and not getting your voice out. I want to give you the encouragement that yes, you can do that. And not only can you do it, you can do it easily and effortlessly. And as you do that, you are going to start attracting people, because if you are truly a heart-centered, mission-driven movement maker, when they look in your eyes and hear the sincerity of your voice, they're going to say, yes, this is somebody I know, like, and trust. And since we buy from those we know, like, and trust, that's the magic sauce for this entrepreneurship that we are doing. I hope this all makes sense to you. I hope that this gives you the foundation for what this week's about, what I hope to accomplish with this. We've got just amazing speakers who have all been publishing, who have figured out a lot of these things. They're sharing their insights with you. They are giving they're giving. So with that, I hope that helps. Let's see. And I love the comments that are coming in here. Yeah, and I love the community that we are finding in here with everyone sharing. So thank you so much for that. And with that, okay, one more thing. I'm just doing a little bit of juggle here. So one of the things is I'm doing this myself. I don't have a team. I don't have people behind. There is no man behind the mirror. There's just me. So thanks for being patient as I do a little bit of this juggling. I want to find, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at, okay, so one of the things that I forgot to do was to make a note of this before, but I have, okay, I had the introduction for Livia, and I didn't save that. And I'm just going back. Okay, here we go. I think I found it. Okay. All right, because I want you to be able to meet our next presenter. This is Livia Pewtress. She's been with us all week. Hopefully, you've gotten a chance to meet her in the chats. Hopefully, you met her in the VIP room, and you've gotten to know a bit of her heart. So let me tell you just a little bit about her. Livia is all about family, faith, and fulfilling her divine mission while helping others find and fulfill theirs with joy. She believes in creation, possibility, and becoming. She creates inspiring products and programs that wake up the mind, inspire the soul, and support divine creation. She loves deep connections and creating memorable experiences. And you can find her, she's a dedicated wife and mother, and you can find her at learnlivefly.com. And with that, I'm going to see if I can bring her out properly. Did I do it? Are you here, Livia?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
All right.
You can hear me.
I can hear you. Okay. So let's, and is there anything else that, that, did I introduce you okay? Is there anything else that they should know about you?
You did great. Just, I love people, and
You do.
I love physically, like looking into your eyes. It's a little trickier with the camera, but being able to like really just help people feel the love of God and to realize that He's with them no matter what you're doing, no matter what your challenge is. And we're going to talk about that later, I'm sure. But
Awesome.
He's always there.
Yeah, and so one of the things that I know about you is you are really about dedication and about consecration. So do you mind if we just jump into that real quick before we get into some of the obstacles and challenges that have kind of maybe taught you your lessons?
Yeah, for sure. So you want me to just talk about the Consecrated Life Project? Or what are you talking
or
about?
just what does consecration mean to you?
Yeah, so consecration to me means that, can you hear me? Are we good?
Yeah.
I think we got lag. Just that everything that I have, everything that I am, I choose. It's not that God forces me to do what He says. It's not like we're puppets. That He says, I've gifted you with this talents, these skill sets. These people are in your space, whether it be on here or in your neighborhood or next door, whatever that is. Everything that I have is a gift from God. So the only thing I currently own of my own is my will, my free agency, my ability to choose. So I choose to say, okay, I'm taking everything you've given me and I'm putting it here to say, tell me what you want me to do with it. Like, I want to make the highest and greatest good out of this life that I have and help whoever you want me to help in whatever way you want me to do that. So whatever that looks like, I'm all in. So that means if I get money, okay, where does this money going? You know, if that means that, hey, I don't feel like I have money for this thing I wanted to do, and He says, donate it here, then I donate it here. It means that if I have this much time and He says, go talk to that neighbor or visit that person sitting on the side of the street, then we go visit that person on the side of the street. Whatever it is, it's God, I give my life to you. Help me know what you want me to do.
Okay, so now is this part of turning your life over to God? And because I had a question for a friend of mine where he told me that he had done that, and I'm like, how do you do that? I've been trying, and I keep trying to turn my life over to Him, but He's not doing the driving. And so I had, I kept feeling like I was jumping back into the car and holding the steering wheel. And he talked to me how it was a daily process. Is that what you've experienced in your life? And tell me a little bit about that process.
Well, I definitely believe that transformation happens in an instant. It happens the instant you make that decision. So if I'm in this and I say, okay, God, I'm giving everything I have to you, but then today I'm feeling frustrated because I have all these other things that are required of me, then in that moment, I can take a deep breath. So I like just to close my eyes and I'll like look up towards the sun or imagine if I'm inside. And I just imagine that I'm like filled with His light. And I say, I choose to be in charity with you. In this moment, I choose to be in the pure love of Christ. What would you have me do in this moment? Or if I've got 20 things on the list, it's okay, what is important today? And He'll be like, do that, that, and scrap the rest. I'm like, okay, that's what we're doing. And then I can just have this inner peace knowing that as much as I thought this is what I had to do, He just wanted me to do this.
Okay. Well, awesome. Okay, so switching gears just a little bit, one of the things that I really wanted to talk about and help everyone with is understanding adversity. And a lot of times our our mess becomes our message. You know, a lot of the things, the challenges that we go through, we ended up finding that there are solutions there, and then we help the next person back. Is that something that you've experienced, and what has led you on the path that you're on right now?
Yeah, so I actually started 20 years ago-ish. I started with graphic design and photography, and I was into all of that. And then I had my babies, and I kind of put everything on the side and did it a little bit here on the side, and that was it. And then I had a stretched tendon in my wrist, and this would pop over the bone. They told me I was going to have surgery, and I was like, no, I choose not to believe that. Thanks. And so I actually found essential oils at that point, and it tightened my tendon. I never had to have surgery. I've been using them for 10 years ever since, and teach people about it all the time as much as I can. Anyone who wants to hear, who wants to heal mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, I can help you. But in doing that, I was teaching these classes, and I wanted to say this little bottle is going to teach you that you don't have to follow the path that everybody else follows, that you can choose and listen to your body and do what your body needs in order to be healthy. So, and that kind of ripples out into everything, questioning all of the things that you taught, that you learned, that, you know, the way that most people do it, that puts you in this little box, and be like, okay, no, wait, what's really right? And then I'm connecting this way versus this way. I'm not worried about what everybody else is saying. Like, okay, God, what's right for me? What's right for my family? And then I can go in that in confidence. And so I just remember feeling inside of me, I'm like, there was something else. And I could just feel like I think I was pregnant with my 5th child. So it was like things were happening, and it's not like my life was slow and there was all this gap of space that I was trying to fill. I didn't need something else to do, but there was like this tug in my heart. There's something. I'm like, okay, so what am I here to do? And I would read my patriarchal blessing, which, if you don't know, that is a blessing, comes straight from God, individual for each person, kind of gives you a roadmap for your life. Like, this is gifts and where you've been called to. And so it kind of helps you find that mission that you have. So I would read that, and I would catch these little glimmers. I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean? What does that mean? And in part of it, it talks about like gathering people and talks about the youth. And I thought that meant one thing, and it doesn't mean what I thought it meant. And so we're just letting it unfold. And I just remember having all these ideas would come to me. I'm like, oh, I could do this, and I could do that, and I could do this, and I could do that. There was so many options. And then I just remember saying, okay, God, there's all these options. But then yesterday, I got an idea. Today, I'm like, what was that idea? I'm like, okay, so that's that super of thought, that if it's really my call, it's not going to disappear in 24 hours. I'm not going to have to strain my brain to remember what it was. So I'm like, hey, help me know what it was. And then one day I just got learn, live, fly. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? No idea what that means. And so I'm like, okay. And it was just like, go buy the domain. I'm like, okay. So I didn't know what it meant, but I bought it. And then 2 or 3 months later, it came to me what it meant. It's learning the things that you don't know, applying them so you're living them, so it becomes a part of you. And then you can fly, which stands for feel like you. And it's that moment when your heart and your head and your spirit are all aligned, and you're doing what you're here to do.
Awesome.
Like the real you, the divine you.
And how long have you been working on this?
Oh, Learn, Live, Fly came like 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what?
8 years.
Yeah. And how has publishing, and what does even publishing mean for you? How has that helped you in your business? Because I know I see you on Facebook all the time. You're doing lots of things. Tell me what you are doing, what's worked, what hasn't.
Yeah. So publishing is it's just putting yourself out there, being willing to speak up and say. So I kind of made this deal with God, and that's a funny story. Okay, here's an adversity story for you. So It was probably 2014, 2015. I was at a mother-daughter retreat with my daughter. It was right when I started getting these nudges, and I knew I was supposed to do something, and I knew he wanted me to like speak up and say stuff, but I'm the one that's behind the camera. I don't really care to be in front of it. And I'm like, it's not my, like, it wasn't my call. It was my call, but it wasn't my desire. It wasn't something that I was like seeking a spotlight. Like, I didn't want to sit in front of a computer screen and talk to people for hours. That's not my plan. And I was at this mother-daughter retreat, and I was feeling that nudge of, oh, I'm supposed to share these things. And I wasn't wanting to. I was kind of having this back and forth fight with God, and my mouth broke out in 7 canker sores. And I was like, I've never had a canker sore in my life until that day. So it wasn't like a thing that normally happens for me. I was like, hey, what's going on? This is weird. And there was a lady who there was a foot zoner. And I was like, hey, will you like check my foot and see if you can find anything. And I kind of already knew, but she was that second witness, and she was like, what are you not saying? I was like, oh, of course, there was something I wasn't saying. And so I was like, okay, God, whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. Consecrated life came 2 years after that. So this was before I fully grasped that, like, okay, whatever you want. And literally, like, I went on Facebook and made my first post, like sharing my heart at that point. And within 12 hours, they were all gone. They haven't come back since.
Your Caker source. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like sharing that first Facebook Live? Was that terrifying, or were you okay with it? Or okay.
I don't remember what it was about. At this point, it's just like I'm kind of in this zone of, okay, God, tell me what to share and when to share and why to share, and I'll do it. So I don't script a lot of anything. It's just like, okay, here's an idea, go share that. Okay, here we go. Email was a little bit trickier for me. Like I'm one of those people who has 20,000 in my email box and I need to clean it out, and I don't stop long enough to take the 4 hours to clean out my 20,000 emails. And so it was really tricky for me to be able to say, I'm going to send out emails and I'm going to build this email community. So I would do stuff on Facebook, but I hadn't really built anything like as far as my email community where I would connect more frequently. And it was interesting because I actually have a hypnotherapist friend. So I had gone to him and I was like, Kate, there's something, I don't even remember what the core of it was. But I was not okay with that. And it was interesting because as soon as that session was over, the next day I was like, I'm so excited to go email my people. And I had been like spotty for years. And now I've been consistent at least twice a week for over a year. And it was like interesting that inside of me, there was a core of something that wasn't willing to let go. And I do believe that Christ can heal all of that. Like any healing, any modality that you use comes through Christ. All the healing comes from him. But being able to say, okay, where do you need me? And it's interesting because sometimes he'll have me have someone else facilitate. And sometimes it's just me and him. Sometimes it's sitting in the temple. Hey, what do I do right now? And it'll just drop in and he'll heal it.
Awesome. I just need to take a real quick break because my dog has wandered in. He knows he's not supposed to be in here. He brought me his ball, and I'm down here like trying to not, and I get distracted. I am sorry about that. Now, you said something.
I love what you just did. And this happens in the moments when we're recording because we're entrepreneurs and we're doing things from home and our kids come to the door or our dogs come, whatever happens. And I'm really key on saying, okay, we're real. We're real here. And if sometimes, I'll be coaching somebody and my son will have a problem, I'll have to cuddle him while we're talking, whatever's going on. I do have a stop sign on my door. It's got like red and yellow and green. So they know if it's red, that means I'm recording and you don't come in. So there's like little tricks that I found that allow that to work while I'm doing this. And then scheduling and things like that. Like you were talking about, I think one of the other days you mentioned something about scheduling ahead. That makes it really helpful.
Yeah. Now, one thing, and I realize that this is way back when you were talking earlier, you were talking about your patriarchal blessing. You mentioned in there about gather. And like, I am just like, that just lights me up because it's a new revelation for me that I believe it is our role and our responsibility as entrepreneurs to gather our people. Like we're called to serve certain people. Like we have flocks and we need to use our voice and we need to be able to, so that they can hear our voice and recognize, here's where I'm supposed to be. But I think that this is part of like the big gathering is that there's a lot of all smaller gatherings and that with these gatherings that we are bringing people in safe and being able to add light to them. Can you expand a little bit more on what you have found with gathering and what that means to you?
Definitely that. I found that sometimes people say, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing all the things, and then it's draining me. And so what I learned was that is if I'm connected here, I'm taking the light from God and radiating it through me so that it's not my energy, my light that is being depleted by sharing, but instead I'm a conduit for whatever he needs to share. And so in doing that, I can just trust that he's going to put me in the right place at the right time to talk to the right people with the right message. And just knowing, that I choose as that like way of consecration is that I'm going to align my life in every aspect possible so that I'm doing exactly that I'm in alignment with me. What's most important to me, the values that I hold, what I believe God has for me. And if I'm living that way, then he can call on me at any moment to talk about anything to anyone. And he's going to tell me what to say.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. One thing that I would just add to it is I think that in the kingdom of God, I think that there's a lot of, like, you think about any kingdom, there are a lot of different facets to it. You know, there's not just the political aspect of a kingdom, but there's an education aspect. There's a social aspect. There's a, you know, did I say education? You know, there's transportation. I mean, there's all of these different systems, and I think that we all, you know, I think when God is building His kingdom down here, I think there's going to be a lot of different facets and a lot of different opportunities for us to be able to add our contribution. So I don't know, but that's what I am digging about entrepreneurship and being able to help people and gather those that are able to receive the help that we have. So let's see. Just wanted to switch gears a little bit. Did you have a comment on that? You looked like you were gonna.
This one thing just came in when you were saying that might be helpful is that I know even when I was doing photography stuff, it was like I wanted to be able to do everything for everyone. And it was like, hey, I'm going to do babies and I'm going to do seniors and I'm going to do weddings and I'm going to do all the stuff. And I had the studio lights and the setups and all the props and all the things. And then I was like, I don't love this. What do I love? And so then I transitioned from normal photography into doing photo experiences, where it's I'm working with an entrepreneur and saying, what is your heart? What is your soul? What is your passion? And then we activate that light and connect to it and then be able to capture it so that their pictures then reflect who they are and what they're trying to say. And so it was in that just saying, you know, if you're trying to do everything for everyone, we can just trust that in God's economy, in God's kingdom, and the way that we're creating, we have our unique set of gifts. Singing is not one of mine. Piano playing is not one of mine. But man, am I grateful for those people who make the music videos and they share their music, because that is a fortification to my soul. When I'm having a hard day, when I'm in those adversity moments, to be able to say, okay, I'm here, and how do I get out of this really fast? Lots of times music is one of those keys that helps me.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so let's transition over to your Consecrated Life project, and what does that mean? And because I know that you've got, and we'll talk about this in just a few minutes, a bonus at the end of the week for those that want to, you know, go a little bit deeper with us. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing and how you help people.
Yeah, so I've got kind of all the things. So Learn, Live, Fly is the umbrella that encompasses all of it. So you can go there and see all the different things there. So as the Consecrated Life Project, it's got the essential oil stuff. It's got all the life coaching, mentoring, alignment, stuff like that. But in general, the Consecrated Life Project started in 2016. I had gone sledding with my son, and we were going down a hill, and there was a nice pole, and there was a hay bale. And the option was crash into one or the other. And so I'm like, okay, the hay bale is better than the pole, and I have my 5-year-old or whatever on my lap. And so I'm going to try to go this way. And then me being the first time on the sledding hill in 10 years after having babies, decided that my foot would be a good way to stop myself on this hay bale, which therefore broke my foot first round down. And so I ended up laying in bed, not being able to take care of my kids. And when you're a mom with all these little kids, that can do a number on your emotional health of being able to be like, oh, okay, I'm not feeling like I can do all of the things that I'm called to do as a mom. So I was sitting there, and I had been in personal development and coaching and things for a couple of years. And I was like, hey, God, I have all my declarations. I've got my affirmations. I'm doing all my things, but I change them all the time. So just give me 3 sentences that I can remember, that I can hold to, that are going to come anytime I'm having a hard day. And that's going to hold to me. And next thing I know, 10 minutes later, I have an entire notebook paper, front and back, all written out, dictated by God, which turned into the Consecrated Life poem. So you can see it at theconsecratedlifeproject.com. And then that turned into a 6-part interview series where I interviewed people who were living that, who were really all in. God, what do you want me to do? I'm going to do it. Doesn't matter how many times I have to change careers or move across the country or adopt a kid or go through infertility treatments or go through cancer, whatever the things are, I'm going to choose you. And I'm going to let you be with me on the journey and guide me. So it turned into like a 6-week thing. And then that kind of went on the shelf for a year or so. And then God's like, hey, pull it out. Now you're going to like interview lots of people. So we're going to do Scott's here in a month or two. I don't remember what day it was. It's coming up pretty soon. Anyway, so I'm moving all the tech from one platform to another currently. So it's not all perfectly there, but you can go and you can sign up and then it will email you with all of the other ones. Actually working on text campaigns too, which is another broadcasting way where it would just text you once a week and say, okay, here's the new interview, so that you can learn from these people who are choosing all in for God. Yeah. And all in for, like, there's so many people out there and they're saying, you follow my path and you do what I did and you're going to get what I got. And I don't think that's how God works. He doesn't want you to do what they did and get what they got, because your mission isn't their mission. Mm-hmm. So I love what Scott's doing, teaching about broadcasting, because if you feel the call to do whatever you're called to do, and part of that is broadcasting, Scott can help you do that. And it can fit into this path or this path or this path or this path. And it's not, you're not trying to become Scott. Scott's doing his talent and his gift. And
he doesn't even have that part figured out.
Okay. That's part of the journey, that we can do this consecrated life thing together. That we can say, okay, what's your skill and what's my skill? And together we can come and collaborate and refer people to each other and help and say, okay, how do we magnify what I have? How do we magnify what you have? And like you were talking about the kingdom, there's the education department and the transportation, all these different departments. You have the publishing part. Maybe I've got the God alignment part. Somebody else has the music part. And all these things come together. And really? Okay. Okay. He makes me say things on recordings that, like, I'm not ready to share yet. So part of what I want to do with the Consecrated Life Project, it's not there yet. Right now we're just doing like the live interviews and they go up on YouTube. Eventually they'll be podcasted as well. I'm saving out all the audios and they'll go podcasted. And then we'll have book series that talk about these stories where they're in like collaboration books, where there can be a whole series of them that people can then read if they're not watching people, or if they want to have a watch, whatever. So there's all the different ways of broadcasting. And one of those is to make an interactive magazine, where it takes and highlights you and your skill and this person and their skill. And I have artists and I have musicians and I have coaches and broadcasting people, whatever that is, where those people can come and share their talents. And it's a way to say, I'm all in for God. This is what I'm called to do. And then you can find those people. And then the magazine can go out to anyone everywhere. Because I know for me, if I have the option of, this is the service I need, and there's 5 people there, and I know your heart, and I know your heart is for God, you ought to bet I'm buying yours. And I bet there's a whole lot of people out there that are like that too. That if you have that in your heart, that you know that's their gift, that's their talent, and you know that they're doing good with the money which you're investing in their service, they're going to give back. They're going to do humanitarian work. They're going to put good into the world. Then I want to support those entrepreneurs.
Awesome. Okay, so I want to talk about your ideal audience, and kind of the context for this is I've been listening to a bunch of coaches who have given me some amazing advice, and they talk about how as you start serving your people, you're going to find that you can serve them at a higher level, and then an even higher level beyond that, and then an even a higher level. And on some of those really high levels, like you're really together. You know, I mean, maybe you're like taking a retreat together, you're taking a cruise together, you know, you're doing like one-on-one coaching or something like that. But you're spending a lot of time with them. And some of these people have talked about how when they got to that level with their people, they realized, I don't really like these people. You know, I picked this audience that I think is going to make me a bunch of money or something like that. And then when they get to that higher level, they realize, wow, these people aren't the ones I would really want to hang out with. And so what these coaches have been, you know, counseling me to do is to reverse engineer who it is I really want to serve. Who would I love to hang out with for a whole week on a Disney cruise and, you know, be doing all these things with, you know, and who are those people? And then you figure it out, and that's how you kind of reverse your value ladder, if that makes sense. Who is it for you, Livia, that you would be like, oh my goodness, if I could serve anybody, if I could gather anybody, who would that be? Can you describe them and tell me, you know, how you came to find them?
Look in your camera. See that guy right there? Scott's my guy. You're actually on my list. We talked about this already, right?
Yeah.
That it's the people who in their heart, they're in it for God. And they're in it for, how do I consecrate my life? How do I give everything to him? And how do I say, I'm not just in it for me and how much money I can make, but I'm in it for the people that I can serve. And I'm in it for, let me cultivate, let me go for that sanctification process. Like, we realize that it's a journey and we're not ever complete. You're not going to say, hey, I'm here and then I hit the top of the mountain. Like, I don't claim to be anybody's guru. That I'm like, we're all on the journey together. But if we can link arms and go together, and these are the people who want to talk about faith, they want to talk about Christ, they want to say, this is what I feel called to do, and I don't really understand how to do it, but I'm going to share that with you because you have a network and I have a network, and together we're all going to come together and get the resources and the people connected that have what you need. And I believe that God brings those people into your space, and then you can work together to create that in this collaborations or in referral partnerships or in, hey, I was just talking to this person, like you guys heard from Leslie yesterday. I actually partnered up with her and I work with her on her team too. So if somebody comes to me and they say, hey, I want to have a creation call with you, we're going to talk about what it is you want to create. And then in that process, I'll be like, okay, well, right now I'm only one-on-one coaching and like developing this high level mastermind. But if you're not quite ready for that, I have the smaller course, and I have access to all of Leslie's things that I can then plug you into the right one because we communicate and we talk together on the back end. And so I know her stuff and then I know my stuff, and together there's a solution. Either I have it in my business or I have a network of somebody who can serve you in whatever that looks like. So just
awesome.
Making sure that I have the ability to serve whoever's in front of me whenever they need it.
I love that. I love that. Well, I want to just turn this around for everybody listening. You know, you've been here in a few days, and each day has been a little bit different. You've heard some different ideas here. Hopefully today you understand we're talking about people today. We're talking about, you know, whatever challenges we've gone through that have helped us figure out who we can serve really well. So in the and I want to highlight some comments here that have come in while you were talking. So the challenge for today is for you to identify who your core audience is. Who is it that you would just absolutely love to serve to the highest level with, and to hang out with, and to that you would serve them if you couldn't even get paid. You know, like you just love them so much. And then you can decide how you want to accept that level of the challenge, whether you go in the Facebook group, and I love the lives that have come in there where you've shared like on video some of the things, like like we've had some missions and some other things in the past that people have shared. Like, that's a great way to do it. You could also just, you know, type it in there. If you're really private, you could write it in a journal, but definitely record it somehow, that you start to get an understanding of who it is you really want to serve. So that is your challenge lesson, or not challenge lesson. It's should you choose to accept this challenge, this is what you are to do for today. What's that?
So your opportunity assignment. It's an opportunity in front of you. You may choose to accept it.
There you go. So please do that for today. And again, we want to help you start feeling like you're getting progress. There's this principle that I believe in very much. It's called the Harvard Progress Principle. You can Google it, look it up. Really cool stuff. They have studied the people who are happiest and also most inventive. And the one thing that they had in common is that they made consistent progress in meaningful work. Isn't that cool? The cool thing about that is you get to decide what's meaningful. They got to decide what was meaningful, but that it's that consistent progress. So I want you to be able to have that. And throughout this week, throughout this challenge, hopefully you start feeling that. So I want to transition real quick. We have a really cool offer for you at the, I mean, it's kind of the end of the week, although you can jump into, let's see, I got the wrong one there. Yeah, you can jump into it today if you'd like to. And this is the course that I am offering. I want people to be able to broadcast easily and effortlessly. So when I did this, I did a challenge a few years ago, and not a few years ago, last year, sorry. And one of the things that I was that I had at the end of the week was this big $1,000 offer. I mean, it was really cool. It teaches people filmmaking, how to show up. Anyways, it's awesome. It's still available. But I realized that a lot of the people hearing this were just wanting to know, how do I get started? Where do I even, where do I even begin? And what can I use right now that would be helpful for me? So, whoops, there we go. So I redid, well, not redid, but I did a different course. This is how to record a profitable course using just your iPhone. This is for busy people. This is for people that, I teach you how to record it in pockets. And anyway, I'm going to talk about it later. But right now, I want to talk about Livia's 5-week experience of living a consecrated life. So this is, and each one of our speakers has a different bonus that's in there. So it's really, really cool, extremely valuable. But while we have Livia here live, let's have her talk a little bit about what this 5-week experience is. And you get this as a bonus. So it just makes it a no-brainer. Tell us a little bit about that, Livia.
Just kind of helps you get started, gets you in alignment on your own terms, on your own time, where it's all pre-done, it's pre-recorded. When you join it, it will send you an email, and it'll send you one once a week where it says, okay, here's your video, and you get to watch me, and I'll talk to you about a certain concept. There's downloads, there's printables, there's some of my little extra bonus courses that are attached to that one as well, and you'll get the Consecrated Life poem. Just so much, being able to really trust God on a deeper level and find some simple processes that will help you to anchor that faith, to trust him more, to release the things that are hard when you find yourself in those adversity situations where you're like, hey, I'm going forward. And then you'll either hit, I'm scared of something, or everything will break. Like, I don't remember what it was one day. My dishwasher overflowed and the whole thing died. And I have all these homeschooling kids and my husband was gone. And I don't remember what was happening. But I was like, okay, this is fun. Where's the gift in this? What are we going to do? And so we played Pioneer, and we took the big old the towels outside, and we put them on the picnic tables, and the 5-gallon drum full of water, and we washed dishes and laid them out on the towels on the picnic table. And it was actually on the Pioneer Day. So the fireworks were going off overhead, and my kids are washing dishes like pioneers outside. And it was just like, okay, so we took the adversity and we turned it into something good. And every now and then my kids will be like, can we do that again, Mom? Like, they don't think they realized that it was out of necessity, not out of, let's just have a cool experience.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Being able to shift really fast and to align yourself with God.
So you're going to get that 5-week experience. So you'll hear more about this. I don't want you to feel like we're pushing all of this stuff on you. What we're doing is during this week, we're trying to help you get the mindset, the skill set, and the tool set to consistently and easily and effortlessly broadcast your message. Publish it in whatever media that is, but start to get your voice out there. Start to feel like your voice matters and how you can do that. So with that, we're going to kind of wrap up because we've got to get over to VIP for those that have upgraded to that. Again, you'll give me a few minutes to send out some last minute emails for anybody that has joined during this. And one thing that I totally forgot, because I just have been spacing it today, I forgot to start with a prayer. And I love starting with prayer, and so anyway, I hope that you'll forgive me on that. But the other thing that I love to do is I love to end with a gratitude prayer. So if you don't mind joining me with for a prayer of gratitude before we close up this session, and I'll say that for us, okay? Our dear Heavenly Father, we are so grateful to have been able to come together on this evening and to be able to talk about the things deep in our hearts. We have been able to talk about consecration. We've been able to talk about challenges. We've been able to talk about getting unexpected messages from Thee and what to do about that. And dear Father, during the course of this challenge, we've had people step forward and say that they recognize that Thou art talking to them and that they are done hiding and that they have their voice to share. Dear Father, please help them to have the courage to do that in whatever manner that means for them. Help them to know that their voice is needed and powerful, and that thou hast prepared people for them. And then, dear Father, please help them to have the support systems around, the friends, those that will encourage them and help them to take the next right moves, whatever those moves are. We are grateful for Livia to come and to share her light and her spirit, and we pray that thou will bless her. And we do say these things in gratitude in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
So, thank you all very much. And thank you for joining. Thanks for adding comments in the chat. And again, if you are in VIP, give me just a few minutes and we'll jump on over there. And I love how interactive this whole thing is. That we can participate like this. But with that, I will see you in VIP. If you're not in VIP, don't worry about it. We will see you tomorrow. We've got another great guest, and keep moving on your challenges. Keep making progress, and we'll see you really soon.
Thank you so much.